Hey, 10-minute daily reality check live from the cave of New York City. Sorry, man, some apartments and some places where we record on the go, it tends to sound a little cavey. It's not that my mic is not good, it's just that, well, I stay at friends' houses and they don't exactly have foam on the ceiling. So bear with us. The information is kick-ass. Sometimes we might sound like we're in a cave, so maybe we should call the 10-minute daily reality check live from the man cave.
Yeah.
Inside the man cave today, John and I are going to talk all about the naming process. So,
well, yeah. What are we talking about?
the naming process.
Yes, naming
John. So, the naming process. So you meet somebody. For instance, you're a man or a woman, and you meet somebody at, let's just say, Whole Foods, because you've called me Whole Foods Dave for some odd reason or another, because I've always said it's a great place to meet people. So all of a sudden, let's say we meet a girl, or I meet a girl named Amy. And I've got 5 Amy's in my phone book. She's now Amy WF, or Amy Whole Foods, or Amy the Blueberry Girl, or Amy the Mushy Peach Girl, because she bought a mushy peach. So then all of a sudden, Amy and I get into a relationship, and she becomes just Amy. Then all of a sudden, Amy and I utter the words, I love you. And then she becomes baby, honey, schnookums. Well, maybe not schnookums, right? And then all of a sudden, Amy and I don't work anymore. And then, when I'm processing the relationship and why it didn't go wrong, she becomes the girl. Or that girl. There's just an evolution of names.
Well, it's really interesting because I'll often, catch myself doing things like that when maybe you're not sure about someone in your life, when you but you're talking about them a lot, or they're taking up a lot of headspace. Say like someone who's about to be an ex or your recent ex, she becomes that girl. Or the girl.
The girl is the best.
Even though it was someone maybe you loved for a year, or
the girl,
or you lived with even, or all that. All of a sudden, she's that girl, the girl.
Well, why? Because she's a monster at that point. So it's like an entity.
Yeah, it's like I feel it's like a protection device. I'm distancing myself from personalizing her, because if I give her the name that she had, the name that I called her real name, then all of a sudden it feels too personal. Then she's still in my life. But if I call her that girl, it's like she's a couple blocks away from me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more like, you live on you live on the Lower East Side and she's on the Upper West Side now, heading her way to Harlem, heading her way to Washington Heights, heading her way to the suburbs.
Getting her off the island,
Yeah, the further away we can push them. But it's funny how we do that. It's like I remember, at times, I remember one time that I was battling with somebody, right?
Yeah.
So I put her in my phone as Muhammad Ali.
That's pretty
Just
good.
because I was going through turmoil, and then one day, right, she texted me something, and the iMessage came up, right?
Oh, man.
And then she goes, why am I Muhammad Ali? And I said, because we fight all the time. And it's really annoying, right? She saw it. She goes, that's not funny. I said, you know what? It is funny. I tried to find some humor. She goes, I can't believe you call me a boxer.
At least it wasn't the C word or something.
No, we can't.
No, that would have been
I think the C word might have been uttered that got her to become Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Because then she decided that she needed to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
Sure.
What about how women? You were telling me a funny story the other day.
Yeah.
You were walking around and this woman said something to you. The woman that woman you once hung with. And she says, "That's just the guy from the street, John."
Oh no! So no.
Wait, say the whole story because I don't want to blow it.
You're putting it in a new spin here, but no. So I mean, let's just say, it's interesting. I noticed how women, very specifically, have labels for all these various guys that they date. There's different levels. There's like the guy that was the main love of her life, the main ex-boyfriends. The
one who broke her heart.
The one who really broke her heart. The one she's the victim of. And then there's these other guys, her friends, or even worse. There was this one particular guy I was talking to, an ex-girlfriend, and she said, "Oh yeah, this guy kept calling her." And she said, "Oh, that's just the guy from the street." And I'm like,
I love that.
Yeah, I'm like, the guy from the street. And she's like, yeah, it's just some guy I always says hi to me on the street.
Was he the umbrella salesman?
Yeah, I mean, right? Well, it turned out he was some kind of promoter or something. But it was like, he's just the guy from the street. I'm like, okay. So just like, in her mind, that's what he was. He was just the guy from the street. But some time later, I found out that they had slept together quite a few times. But even now, years later, she still refers to him as the guy from the street. So he never elevated his status into her heart. He was just the guy from the street.
Well, no, he was the guy from the street.
Yeah.
And then he sweet talked her.
Yeah.
And then they had sex. And then it probably didn't work, and she might have liked him. So then she had to throw him. Excuse me. Then she had to throw him back into the street again. That's like the rationalization. Like, yeah, instead of saying like, yeah, I liked that guy once and it just didn't work out and he's a really super guy, right? She just put him back to exactly where he was. Just the guy on the street. I rationalized my sex I had a street attraction one day. And, he was selling me a taco and an orgasm.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
The taco man.
The taco man.
Oh, the taco salesman? Sure, that's all. That's all it was.
Yeah, just taco and an orgasm. And now he's just the taco guy all over again. It's funny the words we have to use. It's funny when I used to, when I was dating, I would always date like a lot of people at a time. I used to always date like a lot of people at a time, right? I had like a, rotation. And then I would always say with friends, who are you dating right now? Well, there's this one. And my friends go, what's her name? And I go, she doesn't have a name yet. I would never give her a name at all. I call her just this person or this one. And it would always be like, when are you going to give her a name? I said, we have to hit 2 months first before she becomes a name, right?
Come on.
Before she actually becomes the entity. This is when I was in my 20s.
Yeah. Wow.
And my friends would always laugh. We'd go out and go, so is it number 7? Did number 7 make it down to number 3? Did number 3 make it down to number 2? And I used to, in my 20s, I used to write them all down. I had a roster, and I'd write it down. And at the end of each day, I would write a note next to it and going, well, I think we have a new cleanup hitter today. I think number 7 is on a hot streak. I think she's now going to hit number 4. And I used to literally write it all down on what I was thinking, how I was feeling, and who was moving up the list.
Wow, you were doing pretty good in your 20s, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely sounds like that's worthy of a movie. This guy, right? What a character.
I was a character in my 20s.
Right?
Yeah, I definitely was.
Man.
And I journaled. The worst thing was, I wish I still had those journals, except there was a woman. A woman. You see what we call her?
The woman,
not an ex.
the woman from the deli.
Right. There was a woman. There was a woman who decided to, when we split up, decided to go and get some of her stuff out of my house, right? Because she had some things in the closet.
Yeah.
And she just happened to bring a duffel bag and took all my journals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What'd you do with them?
She was, I don't know, but they never surfaced again. So I usually call her the journal thief.
Oh, the journal thief.
Yeah, so in my stories, I would say the journal thief stole my journals because it would have been fun to read all that stuff because I was so funny about the roster. I try to, because what I was trying to do, honestly, during that time was trying to figure out my gut instinct, trying to train my gut instinct and trying to trust myself and picking the right one. But it was funny because in my 20s, I'd always pick the wrong one. The cleanup hitter was never really as good as I thought they were.
Yeah.
And the person who laid the bunt down number 1 was actually really more consistent, but I always went for the
more
home
of a
run.
team player, huh?
Yeah, I always
you were
went.
looking for home runs when you needed a team player.
I did.
But you weren't ready for a team player.
No, I wasn't. Instead of going for the bunter, I went for the C word.
Yeah, you often did. We often have.
I know. Why do we do that?
Well, I mean, maybe it seems more exciting, and sex was good, and maybe you
No,
felt like
wasn't
she
that
was
great?
prettier or something. Who knows? We look for. There's a lot of reasons we make choices.
I know. The choices we make are so funny, and that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. No matter what you name somebody, either you're going to trust your instincts or not. And I think that's a really, really big thing for a lot of people. Is a lot of people just don't trust their instincts.
Yeah, that's
at all, and they're too afraid to be themselves. Like the other night at the boot camp, we were talking about radical authenticity with the guys, right, John?
Yeah,
and they all kind of looked at us like we were speaking Chinese.
Yeah, they didn't understand it, but we went through it. The light bulbs were going on as we went through the talk, and we don't need to go on and on about that. But radical authenticity, the word radical, of course, is like completely provocative and explosive and even dangerous. You would be dangerous. In fact, I don't know if you ever heard of this guy Osho. I'm not, promoting him or anything, but there was on the back of one of his books, there was a review, and it said the most dangerous man since Jesus Christ. And that was interesting. I never thought of it like that. Like Jesus was dangerous. This guy's dangerous. They're thought-provoking. They're changing the tides.
Great marketing.
Yeah, they're radical. And this is the most dangerous podcast since Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is by far the most dangerous podcast since Jesus and God had a podcast with Mary sitting in the manger, right, with the animals, and they sat there and they talked about all the stuff. This is the most dangerous podcast because it really teaches you to be honest and truthful. You know, we don't sugarcoat anything. The days we're angry and we're pissed off, and we let it all out. We don't just sit there and go, be love, breathe deeply, talk to your 17th chakra, hang out, feel love for all your enemies, breathe deeply, practice forgiveness 24/7. I mean, we don't do that shit because we know that people aren't wired that way. It's okay days to be pissed off. It's okay to call somebody the man on the street. It's okay to go through the process of life because we can't be this divine entity 24/7. It's not who we are. And that's the reason why we are
the man on the podcast
with radical self-help.
Right. Oh, that's the reason why we are, radical self-help junkies.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't suck either.
And it doesn't suck, and and I want you guys all to come on back tomorrow for more radical self-help that doesn't suck.
Did I ever tell you about the girl that didn't suck?
The girl that didn't
I
suck?
called her Tootsie Roll.
Why? Because
She wanted to get to the center of the Tootsie Roll in 3 bites.
Oh man, I would rather.
Yeah, I'll tell you about her. I'll tell you about her off air, man. She was really funny. All right, come back tomorrow from New York City.